Hi, you guys. Welcome to Cat's Prayer Corner podcast. I have my girl Candace here today. Welcome, Candace. She's going to share with us her God story, and I hope that whoever's out there can and sees it, whoever needs to see it, sees it. Hopefully you've been watching the other ladies and their testimonies, and I'm super excited to get into what you have to say today and all the feels. We talked a little bit before we came on, and I was like, we have got to get started. I'm loving it. So, but something I like to do, and I think it's kind of fun, just a little fun starter question is, if you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Okay. My superpower is I would have the ability to cause people to see the good in themselves.
Chills. Man, that is so beautiful.
And because you look at people so many times and you think, do they know how beautiful they are? Do they know? And then most of the time they don't even know. They're walking around with their heads down.
Oh my gosh, that's so true.
They have no idea what the world sees.
Oh, I love that. So we met. You used to. Okay, so I donate plasma. Groceries are expensive.
So
okay.
Do I.
Yeah, and that's how we met. So she was, I was donating. She was one of the nurses for me, or phlebotomists for me. And we just started Jesus jamming right away, just like immediately. And the Holy Spirit was present, and then you're short. So when I would go there, I wouldn't see you. And then I would get somebody else, and I'd be disappointed because I would always want to Jesus jam with you.
Yep.
So here we are, Jesus jamming, and I'm like, high five. Thank you. Oh, yep.
Or low five.
And I like to high five Jesus. I like when he shows up, even when you're donating plasma.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So and it is good to donate plasma. They do need plasma. You can't get paid, but it is actually so good because it goes into medicines and all. Saves lives.
Yes.
So
very important.
Help with your groceries and save a life, you know?
Absolutely.
Here, the reason you are here today, what is the main God story in your life? I know that you're Christian and God has moved so much in your life, and we have had many experiences with him, but trying to just kind of bring it down to the one major one we could really, the one that stands out the most, you know, in our life. So
well, God delivered me years ago from homosexuality.
Okay.
And I had to be delivered from demons. I had to be completely. I had more than one demon in me.
Wow.
It was like a 4-hour process. And the people that did it didn't know what they were doing. I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh, wow.
But ultimately, whenever you tell something to leave, it has to leave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Preach it.
People can pray over you all day long, and they can be the most spiritual people, but until you tell something to get out of your house, it's not going anywhere. It's got to go.
That gave me chills. That gave me God bumps.
Yes.
Okay, so how did that feel?
Oh, man. It was traumatic.
Yeah.
There was stuff coming out of my mouth. The enemy did not want to leave, so he was constantly saying, this is not real, this is not real. Of course, it was a same-sex attraction from women to women, so they said that I kept saying, she is telling me it's not real. There's a whole nother world going on besides this one.
Yeah.
And it fights against whether you're a believer or not, it fights against you because you're God's creation. Whether you believe in him or not, he created you, and the devil hates you. He hates you. He hates anything God's created.
Yes.
And he's only out to steal, kill, and destroy. And that lifestyle and that way of living will definitely steal, kill, and destroy.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that. So
from a very early age, there were people in my life that would downrate men, say that you can't trust men.
Oh, okay.
I think these things were told to me to protect me,
mm-hmm.
But they did something opposite of what they were supposed to do. I had female figures in my life that were not very nice and mean, but then I would go to school and a teacher would be nice, and so I'd find that attractive, and then the enemy would bring dreams, and you know, the enemy would lie to me, and then, you know, the enemy just uses whatever he can.
Yes.
So then you start maturing, you start going through puberty, and then, you know, he starts working really hard to convince you from an early age that this is love, and this is going to make you happy.
Yeah.
This is going to make you happy.
Yeah.
No different than a little girl being so attracted to men. And I was attracted to men because I'm still crazy about Elvis Presley. From an early age. I still look at him and think he is the most attractive man there ever was.
Oh, yeah.
But I had this pull from the enemy trying to convince me that I was something that I really wasn't. I stepped in and I invited it in. I asked the devil for it because actually let me back up just a little bit. I had invited the Lord into my life. When I was just little, we had a black and white television, and my brother and sister used to watch Oral Roberts. And one day they were both busy, and it was a Saturday or Sunday morning, and I was watching Oral Roberts, and he said, "Everybody lay your hands on the television. It's time to accept the Lord into your life. Even little children." Now, when he said that one line, even little children, I thought, I can do this too. Because I was the baby of my family, and I didn't think I could do anything. So I laid my hands on the television. I accepted the Lord in my life. When I accepted the Lord in my life, I entered a world of spiritual warfare. But I didn't know that. There wasn't anyone there to explain that to me.
Right.
So I brought these feelings and these thoughts to the Lord, and the Lord would just shut down. And I did what Ariel on The Mermaid did. I said, well, if you won't give it to me, I'll go find it another way. And I asked the devil to make me that way at a very early age.
Oh, wow.
When I asked the devil to make me that way, my throat became really tight for weeks on end. And that was that demon coming into my spirit.
Oh.
And the reason I know this was because when I was being delivered, they said my neck swelled. And like The Exorcist, I guess. Wow. I didn't see it. It was happening to me. But the moment that I asked the devil to make me that way, because before that spirit came into me, I knew I had these feelings, but I couldn't imagine myself actually doing anything like that. It really made me sick. I really thought, I have these feelings and I have these desires, but I can't imagine myself doing anything like that. I really can't.
Right.
And, you know, and so I was that way all the way through elementary school, all the way through junior high, and all the way through high school.
Okay.
Yeah. And all the way outside of high school for a couple of years until I moved to Georgia.
So you had like girlfriends?
No, I didn't have a lot of relationships. I went to, when my parents found out, I was in 10th grade, and they found out through a phone conversation, and they told me, you have to get out. You have to move out right now if you're going to live this way. So I abstained until I graduated high school, and then I went back out, and then I had, secured a job where I could support myself, and then when they found out, they said, get out, and they completely cut me off out of their life. They said, you're no longer our daughter. Don't call us. Don't come around.
Wow.
Just disappear. As far as we're concerned, you're not our daughter. So that was how my parents dealt with it.
Yeah. And were they of a specific religion?
Catholic.
They were Catholic.
Yeah, Catholic. Yeah, I was raised Catholic.
So did that make you go deeper into that?
I gave up everything.
Yeah.
I gave up my family. I gave up everything.
Kind of ran away.
I thought it was worth it. I mean, I was looking for love.
Yeah.
And I thought, you're not going to tell me that I can't
love who I want to love.
Who I want to love and fulfill my own desires. This is what I've wanted since I was a little girl, and you're not gonna hold that from me.
Yeah. So then, what shifted?
What shifted? So, I was riddled with loneliness. I was extremely lonely. Not only did I lose my family, but the people in the nightclubs, they're not your family.
Right.
They're just not. And so I would work 2 or 3 jobs, and then I would go to the clubs every chance I got. party till late at night. I was to the point where I was staying drunk all the time. I had money for beer, but not money for groceries. I was getting to where I was throwing up my insides all the time because I wasn't eating. I was just in a mess. And
my goodness.
So everyone in my family had come to me and asked me to change. And I sent my mom away crying. I sent my sister away saying, okay, I can't see my nieces and nephews. It's fine. This is the way that I am. So I was sitting there.
That is so lonely.
It was bad. It was really
So
bad.
lonely.
And I was a teenager. I mean, all the people that I went to school with had gone off to college. And I had graduated high school, so I was really alone. Yeah, it was bad. And so I was sitting at a nightclub one night. Didn't even have any money to buy a drink. I think somebody bought me a drink. Or maybe I was drinking water. And this voice came to me and said, come away with me. I have something better for you. And I said, oh, there's got to be something better. I thought it was my voice.
Yeah.
And I said, there's got to be something better for me than this. This is just terrible. And then the voice said, come away with me. And I said, this is awful. I'm just going to leave this place. This is just, I'll think about it tomorrow. And I walked right out into a girl who was witnessing for the Lord. A girl and a guy. They crossed the far side of the sidewalk. It came right over to me as soon as I walked out of the nightclub.
They felt you.
Yeah. They came right to me. Now the place that I was at, I don't remember people looking me in the eye too much. But this girl looked right in my eye. And she said, and remember all the rejection I've gone through with my family.
Yes.
She said, do you know that God loves you no matter what you do? And I just froze. And
the best words she could have said.
Ever.
Yes.
And now this girl was not attractive.
Yeah.
She didn't have pretty hair. She didn't have a pretty face. She didn't have a stitch of makeup on, pretty clothes, nothing. Plain shoes. I kept looking at her up and down to see what was attractive about her.
Because she was beautiful.
She was beautiful to me, but I couldn't see it with my naked eye what was beautiful. But later I understood that it was the Lord.
It was Jesus.
It was Jesus that was beautiful.
Oh, that's what you told me before we started the interview, and I was like, we have got to start filming.
Yeah. I'll never forget this girl. I don't even know if she was a person or if she was an angel.
Yeah, I do think that angels they show up like people and communicate with us.
Yeah.
And I do believe from the bottom of my heart that was an angel.
Yeah. So I may never see her this side of heaven, but they took my name and number. I think I maybe went back to the nightclub one more time.
Yeah.
But there was nothing there for me anymore. And I was even telling the people that I send with, you better get your life right with God, because I'm getting my life right with God. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know how it was going to happen. I just knew that it was time for a change.
Yeah, right. And so did your drinking slow down at that point?
Continued to drink, but I stayed out of the nightclubs. I got some heterosexual friends.
Yeah.
Started hanging out with them, partying with them. My parents decided they were going to move to Georgia. They said, you want to come with us? I said, no, I've got too much responsibility here. But one night I began to cry violently, thinking about not being a part of their lives.
Yeah.
I had just reconciled with them.
Oh.
Started going over there for Sunday dinner after church. So I decided one night I was going to move with them. So I did, and they had a 2-bedroom apartment, and I had 1 bedroom, and they brought 1 employee with them. The employee of my dad, his wife, was a believer. His wife. And she and I spent hours together talking.
Divine
sharing.
connection,
Yeah. So I found the Lord in Georgia. Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah.
Georgia Peach.
Georgia. Yeah.
And how old were you?
I was in my 20s.
Like a mid-20s? Or?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was completely delivered and saved probably about age 21 or 22.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Age to drink, and I'd already done all my drinking.
Yeah, I know, right? It's very common.
Yeah.
I was 19 when I I had an abusive stepdad, and I had things too. I've shared on my podcast before. And so when I became an adult, I was like, woohoo, I'm doing everything. I'm drinking, I'm doing all the drugs, I'm having the sex, the things, all the things. And then, then you regret it. But it's part of life, and I've been in the bar drunk and on drugs and, down in the dumps and not connected to God. I've always loved God. I've been mad at God. And I went through a big separation from him in my 20s where I was at those dance clubs too. And I was twerking and taking my shirt off. You know what I mean? Like doing Jesus was like, oh Lord.
Yeah.
So, and I think that we, it's very easy to fall into substance abuse and just sin in general when you have so much trauma.
Yeah, that's where it comes from.
And the devil feeds on your trauma, and it's a real thing. And that's so, I always talk about the armor of God. Like every single day, you've got to put that armor of God on. And if you invite the devil in, he will show up. So protect yourself from the flaming arrows of the devil, because he gonna get you, and he's gonna show up in a beautiful package.
Yeah.
So nice and attractive in whatever it is. It's gonna make you feel good.
Exactly.
You should do it.
For a moment.
Yeah. And then leave you
high and dry.
Broken.
Yep.
Yeah. And so now, how is your faith and your journey been since you accepted Christ and you started following him and you've been with him prayerfully? How has that been for your life?
It's been layers.
Yes.
I mean, people think, it's a one and done. Deliverance with the Lord with any sin is not a computer, a button that you hit. You have to walk through layers. Making him Lord and giving him every facet of your life is a process.
Yes.
I mean, there are so many things out there offering, I can make you feel loved. I can make you feel, and you may not have to lay that thing down one time. You may have to lay it down several times. Right. Because he's a jealous God, and he wants to be first. And as I said from the start of our conversation, anytime anything is in the way of him being first, anything that we're looking to fulfill us other than him, it could be work, could be exercise, it could be affection from somebody, it could be a relationship, it could be something totally unwrong, a friendship. Yeah. But if that thing is taking the place of something he's wanting to take the place of, then it's a God to you. Yeah. And you constantly have to lay those things down. Every day, every season, we're all in the season. Like, we could go through seasons. We're either going in a storm or you're in the storm or you're coming out the storm, right? Yeah. And the key element, that line that goes through everything, is that golden cord that is of God, that is never stormy. He is that still water that we are able to latch onto. People are looking for love in all the wrong places. Always. If you're not looking for love. I kind of like that song, actually. It's like old school. It is old school. But you know what I mean? And I do, and I feel like, oh man, it's the answer to peace. Jesus is that that intimate relationship. It is, I promise you my peace, he says. Yeah. That in the storm, he's that still water. Yeah. And I don't know, I was reading this, or I don't know where I saw it. Probably a real one somebody sent me, but it was this pond and Jesus. Oh, it was the little girl who painted Jesus, my beloved. Akiana. Akiana. And she explained Jesus like this. She was like, he's like that still water. And people, with their own wills, muddy up that water. Yeah. Right? And so people's opinions and people's, whatever is muddying up that water. And we just have to remember to go back to that still water. Yeah. And so what a beautiful redemption story. And I know that you have many layers,
And you are willing to talk to people if they have questions or if they want to talk to you or tell their story.
Yeah. It's not always easy to talk to people because although I'm different and although I'm changed, I'm a new person. When you tell people what your past is, they don't always view you as delivered. They sometimes maybe they have a struggle within themselves that they're afraid of. For whatever reason, some people will, I've even had people that I minister with just the other week tell me, you need to come clean. I have come clean. I mean, I've been through inner healing after inner healing, but it's not a one and done.
No.
I mean, you may have to do your first work 1 or 2, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. You may have to rededicate because we're imperfect and we live in an imperfect world, and there's constantly things out there fighting for our attention and fighting to get us off focus. You don't just go to the chiropractor one time.
Right.
You don't just, you don't take a tumble and then never go to the chiropractor again. You constantly realign.
Yeah.
And that's the part that a lot of times people don't want to get delivered because they think, well, I'm not able to change. No, you can't change, but God can change you.
Yes.
All he needs is your will. Because at the end of the day, you can be the worst sinner in the world. You can be the biggest mess up, but you made that decision. And all you have to do is turn that decision around. And if you give him an inch, he'll take a mile. That's all it takes.
That mustard seed of faith.
That's all.
Believe that it will be answered. God wants to answer our prayers, the right prayers, and he will answer. Knock and the door shall be open.
Yeah.
Ask and you shall receive.
Yeah.
And if it's in alignment with his will.
Yeah.
And it will always be in his timing. You're right. It's not push a button and you're like, boop, better.
Nope.
But your eyes will be opened. I teach this, for discernment and wisdom in our helmet of salvation. And, God is not a God of confusion.
No.
He's clear. And if you're quiet enough, you can hear him.
Yeah. And he can change your life, but you still have a will.
Oh, yeah.
He has to have our will.
Yeah.
And once he has your will, then the sky's the limit, what he can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So what do you do daily now as like your routine with Jesus? Like, what's your daily routine?
Well, I just get up in the morning and have coffee and just be quiet and still.
Yeah.
And rest. I think rest is warfare. And I've heard that a lot. Seems like he has a lot of people doing that now. I don't really have a regimen prayer or Bible study that I do, but I definitely listen and say, Lord, what do you have for today? What do you want for today?
Yeah.
Is there any enemies I need to pray for, or anybody?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, because bitterness is a constant battle.
I just read another meme. People do send me a lot of fun things. And it said, if you're going to be a real Christian, you got to love Jesus, right?
Yeah.
But the real Christian also loves Judas.
Right.
Oof. That hit me because it's like, love your enemy. I like that you said that because it's not easy for us to love our enemy. No. The only way to do that is through God's grace.
That's it. Through
that breastplate of righteousness.
Yes.
That's the only way. And so but think about it. If you are able to be in a space where you're like prayerfully praying for somebody who hates you, you're putting your mindset in a place of like goodness and love over them.
Yeah.
How does your body feel with those feelings? Great. Because life is all about, our perceptions in our own bodies here. How are we feeling, right? And so if we are shifting our mindset to, man, I hope the Lord can really handle their pain, shift these people. Praying brings that like emotionally warm feeling to us.
Yeah.
And then you're not, when you think of them, forgive again, experience that again, and then you're not harboring it in your body through the rest of your day when you've thought of them because a song came on or something, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it really is the trick of living a happy life.
Yeah.
Is to go, oh, Lord, I give this person to you. And it may need, at the beginning when you're forgiving someone, it may need to happen every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
But it gets easier over time.
Yes.
Over time.
Yes.
So, Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, well, let me just ask you one final question. If you were going to give some advice to someone about connecting to God, what would you say?
Oh, I just say give him a chance. He's going to surprise you.
Yeah, I love that.
He's going to surprise you because
Yeah.
you never ever go wrong with taking a step towards him.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And it can be just the littlest little bit of step.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be a big one.
I love that.
Yeah.
That mustard seed,
Yeah.
girl. I
Yeah.
love it. Thank you so much for coming,
Absolutely.
being brave, being on my show, speaking your heart.
My pleasure.
I just love you, and I'm thankful
too.
that you will be able to be available for people who reach out and need, maybe even ask you. You're willing to share deeper into your stories about things.
Absolutely.
And when we're off camera, I was actually going to ask you a little more about that experience with how you felt after the release of all those demons and all those feelings. Maybe we can even do another podcast, a separate little section
Yeah.
on going into maybe some of that deeper stuff too, little like outer warfare stuff, which I believe could have its own podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thanks for showing up.
Yes.
Tell me your favorite scripture.
Favorite scriptures? I have two. I'll
All
tell
right,
you.
come on.
Well, the one that got me through the most when I first became a Christian
Yep.
was first one I ever memorized was Romans 2:11. God is no respecter of person.
Oh, wow.
Because I was raised in, if you were this, if you were that, you got noticed. If you were this, if you were that, you were loved. You had to earn everything.
Mm-hmm.
And but when I found out everything was level at the foot of the cross,
Yeah.
my gosh,
Ugh.
that was amazing to me.
Yeah.
That that God doesn't love me any different than He loves the person who's always served Him and who's
Yeah.
never strayed away.
Right.
That's amazing to me. Isn't that great?
Yes. Yay.
Yay.
All right, what was your other one?
Romans 8.
Okay.
Nothing can separate you from His love.
Yes.
Nothing. Not height, nor depth, nor powers, nor principalities.
Yes.
No
That's on the
things.
Jesus Calling app today.
Is it?
That one.
Yeah.
I love when he shows up. I'm going to high five him again.
Yay!
Oh, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
Dang, what a awesome testimony. Thank you for just showing up for me today.
Absolutely.
And being brave, and I hope this encourages you to maybe also share your story, your God story, and if you know somebody that could hear this message, share it with them. Okay? I love you. All right. Till next Women's Wednesday. Love you guys.